For our recipe segment today, we are back in the test kitchen here above Frontera Grill with Rick Bayless. And Rick, we have a special guest today from across the street.
Carrie Nahabedian, my favorite neighbor of all
Thank
times.
you.
It's really lovely to have you here. And you have not been to our test kitchen before.
Not at all.
So welcome.
Thank you.
So Carrie's
very impressive.
Quite the resume. You were in Beverly Hills at the Four Seasons years ago, right? You worked in Lake Forest, I know, before that in Chicago. But you've got Naha here in River North and then Brindille.
And Brindille. Just last year we opened Brindille.
How old is Naha?
We're in our 14th year.
14th year.
So 14 years being across the street from Rick, and I never knew he had all of this.
Existed here.
So
tell us a little bit about Brindille, because that's brand new for you. And tell us what were you doing? How's it different than Naha, which is one of my favorite restaurants ever?
I think I was in an insane amount of an insane part of my life when I came up with Brindille with my cousin Michael. Brindille is dinner only, nightly, refined Parisian. And the difference is that Naha is 130, 140 seats, 2 private dining rooms, large bar, bar menus, craziness. And Brindille is a little bit of sophistication in the hubbub world of River North in Chicago. It's a little escape. It's not jacket, tie, suit, special occasion. It's just an escape from the outside world.
I have a feeling we're going to go a little more downscale, a little more casual today.
Well, because this is all home cooking.
This is all home cooking. Again, the priority is we have one ingredient. That ingredient today is eggplant.
Eggplant.
Right? Now, eggplant close to your heart.
I wanted to do eggplant. I really pushed because Carrie comes from the tradition of eggplant, because tell us about your heritage, where
I'm
it comes from.
I'm 100% Armenian. I'm taking a little riff on baba ganoush, which is an eggplant. And I'm making eggplant bagna cotta.
All right, well, let's start the clock because we get 15 minutes to make something. And you get 5 ingredients on top of your eggplant. We're going to talk about those as you're working.
Okay.
Yes. Matt, our editor, is going to start the clock in 3, 2, 1. So let's start now, 15 minutes.
Okay, here we
go.
go.
So, Carrie, tell me what your 5 ingredients beyond eggplant are.
It looks like some cooking's already going on over there.
You know, I needed a little bit of time to char my eggplant, so I asked for a little indulgence.
Already.
But I'm taking my big knife and I'm smashing my garlic.
Okay, so but you earlier, a few minutes ago, you did put some eggplant directly on the grill.
I put my eggplant, a whole eggplant that is washed, stem on, and I put it on an open flame, and I'm charring the skin because I'm going to take it off, scoop out the center, and puree it, just like a baba ganoush. And I know all the Italians are going, the bagna cotta, this is not right. It's
not right.
It's not right.
But this is when you're running home on Tuesday night, at 6 o'clock, you got to get something on the table.
Yes.
This is an easy thing you can do in 15 minutes, you think.
And you can add this, you can use it as a dip while your family's, for a cocktail party, or you can spoon this on top of roast chicken, you can spoon it on top of fish, and you could eat it with crusty bread like we're going to do here. I got beautiful crusty bread, and we're going to use it with a big salad.
All right, so Rick, what are you doing? You got some chili peppers?
I am toasting right now some guajillo chilies. These are the smooth skin. They look a little bit like the New Mexico chilies, but they're a little spicier than that. And I'm just toasting them in a dry pan that I've got heating over about a medium heat here. And you can start to smell that toasty chili aroma. Hopefully we won't all start crying, coughing, choking. I don't know what. I'm going to try to make this go as good as I can here. Now I'm going to make a dish. I've cubed eggplant already. Starting with a big globe eggplant. This was a huge one, so I actually took about half of it, and it looks like I've got a massive amount going here. Lightly toast these chilies. That's taking me about a minute or so total. They're starting to brown in little pockets there where they touch the pan, and now I'm just going to transfer them to a blender jar over here and throw in a little bit of garlic to have in there.
Man, speaking of garlic, I love watching Carrie work. You are just going to town on that garlic.
So people shouldn't be afraid. If you don't have a garlic press, just peel your garlic clove, smash it with the back of your knife on a nice wooden cutting board.
I need a little bit of garlic. Would you mind if I take a little of that? Because that's one of your.
Okay. You got the 5-minute head start.
I got the 5-minute head start. And then I smash it with the back of my knife against the cutting board with a little kosher salt that breaks it up. And now
it's like a paste.
It's like a
garlic paste.
It's a complete paste.
All right.
And I have my beautiful. You can hear that charriness.
Yeah. By the way, folks, you can see this entire recipe on our Facebook page at The Feed Podcast, as well as our YouTube channel, The Feed Podcast. So it's a pretty hot eggplant, Carrie, you took out. Oh, you're covering it.
It's smoking.
It's
and I've got the
completely-
blender going over here in the corner.
It's completely smoky, it's completely charred, the whole flesh is collapsed, and you can cover it with plastic, or you can just put a towel over the top.
Okay.
And now I'm going to saute butter and olive oil and my garlic.
And Rick just threw his eggplant cubes into the hot pan with olive oil
That's right.
and garlic. No,
Yep.
garlic's in the blender.
No, the garlic's in the blender.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to put it over there.
Okay.
I got it over high fire now. I just enough oil to coat the bottom of a very large skillet. I'm a huge believer in throwing things out of the pan, which I just did here.
So that if
I
it
have
happens
no
at
idea
home,
what
you
I'm
know,
doing
yeah,
here.
what's going to happen with that? All right, so
Okay.
what have you got, chicken?
I got some chicken thighs here, which I'm going to debone and put into the skillet along with the eggplant, and we're going to brown them. Now this chicken thigh has the bone still in them. You can buy the ones that are already deboned with the skin off of them. But here I'm going to make a sort of one dish meal out of it, pulling the skin off and cutting the bones out and then cutting them into cubes.
The thigh has so much great flavor.
Oh,
I
it
think
does.
really, I mean, underutilized by a lot of home
Yeah,
cooks.
absolutely.
Carrie, what are you doing over there now? You're taking the skin out?
I'm peeling the charred skin off the eggplant, and then I'm going to put it in a blender, RoboCoupe, KitchenAid, and chop it. And it's going to go in my pan right now. I'm foaming olive oil with butter.
What does that mean?
Foaming. I'm getting it to a sweat, because when you add olive oil into a pan, obviously it gets hot. But when you add butter, whole butter, to the pan, it starts to foam and give off this nice little bubbling, and we're going to cook the garlic in there.
We've got 5 minutes elapsed, so under 10 minutes to go.
Okay.
We're a third of the way through here.
I'm going fast here.
He's working it. He's chopping up his chicken thighs.
Yes, I want to get it into small pieces so that they'll be about the same size as our eggplant pieces
That's
here.
important, right? You want to have things
Okay.
cut the same size.
Yes, because they'll cook in the same amount of time. Now, one of the things about working with eggplant is that it's notorious for soaking up oil.
It
When you
soaked
turn
up
our
all the
blender
oil
on.
in your pan, by the way.
That's exactly right.
All the oil's gone.
All the oil is gone,
But the
and
oil
now I'm
adds so
sort of
much great
charring
flavor.
stuff in there. But I'm going to add a little other drizzle. I'm using this Baja olive
you just
oil
keep
here.
dropping stuff.
I'm throwing things around today.
What are your 5 ingredients, by the way? So chicken, the chilies,
Yes.
brown
And I
sugar.
stole some garlic from her, so that doesn't count as one of my
Right,
ingredients. But I
right.
decided I really needed it right now.
molasses and brown
Okay.
sugar and almonds.
In almonds,
Okay.
that's what I'm doing. Now I'm going to put some almonds over here in a pan with no oil in it at all. Now these are the sliced almonds. They're not the little slivers or whole almonds. These will toast just gently, and I'm going to use those to sprinkle over the top of this. But we got to get this thing cooked here.
All right.
Okay, so now you can see that my eggplant is starting to brown nicely.
Yep.
Which is what I want. And then I want to see that this chicken is going to cook through. So it's in smallish pieces, about half-inch squares. And it'll cook very quickly. I could use chicken breast for this, but I like the flavor of the thighs, so that's what I'm doing here.
I have my garlic cooking in my foaming butter and olive oil. I've added a little red chili flakes.
Okay, that's one of your ingredients you've added, the
One
chili
of my
flakes.
ingredients I'm adding. And I don't want to brown the garlic because I don't want that flavor.
I've got this guajillo chili that's toasted and blended with water. I'm just using water in this, and a little bit of garlic. And I'm pouring it through a medium mesh strainer here, and into the pan with everything. Now I'm going to just press it through here, because guajillos are notorious for having very, very tough skin.
Yeah. Tons of seeds.
And tons
in
of
there. Yeah, look at
seeds.
that.
I just blended it all because I'm working quickly here, so I have to use every little technique that I can for speeding things up. So I didn't even soak the chilies. I just blended them with the water.
But soaking would have done what?
It would have made a pulpier mixture that would have more of a sauce-like consistency.
7 minutes to go, right? Halfway through. Halfway
I am
through.
going
I'm
to.
adding anchovies.
Anchovies, all right. And is he in a jar or what?
I'm using white, charred,
Oh, there we go. Okay.
beautiful Spanish anchovies to my garlic mixture.
Now, you know I like to cook with canned chipotle.
Yeah, I noticed you like to cook with canned chipotle.
Okay, I could have used canned chipotles here. I'm just saying. But I chose to use the other dried chili that I love so much, which is the guajillo chili. You could use ancho chili for this as well, but it's a red chili eggplant with a little bit of chicken.
And I got to say, the cool thing about folks like you is that you've made grocery stores around the country carry dried chili. So it's not like you have to go to a Mexican market to find dried guajillos, right?
Not these days. Anchos are more available than the guajillo, but the guajillo has a much brighter flavor. So that's one of the reasons that I wanted it for this dish. But I am actually balancing the guajillo here with both brown sugar and molasses, because I'm going to do something that's going to kind of come out with the flavor of salsa that I love called salsa negra, black salsa. And that comes from a really laborious, long cooking process with chipotle and raw sugar and everything. But here I'm doing a hurry-up version of that, and I'm adding molasses and brown sugar to this mixture.
Isn't that sort of like, in Thai food, you have a really strong Thai chili.
Yes.
You want to add sweetness from coconut milk to balance it. Same thing here. You're balancing this heat with sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Now I'm adding a little bit of salt to it, and I'm going to let it simmer until it's reduced and thickened up some, and it'll be ready, basically. So red chili sauce. Touch of garlic in that red chili sauce, sweetened with both molasses and brown sugar. Some salt goes in there, and then we've got the eggplant and the chicken.
And I always season the bread. I know it's so crazy, but I season the bread.
No, I've seen a lot of chefs do that. Now, do you also rub the garlic on it too?
It has enough garlic. I should.
Okay.
If it didn't have the huge amount of garlic that it does on it, I would. But I think the dish is going to be lovely all on its own.
3 minutes to go.
3 minutes, but technical difficulties.
Okay,
but now we're back in business with a blender.
I think we're in business because we're going into the blender. Thank God Katie is here. So Carrie's going to brown her bread while she's waiting for this.
And then I'm ready to go.
Okay, and Rick, you're already plating?
Yes, I'm plating because I want to reduce this sauce a little bit more without the other solids in the pan.
Okay.
So I've got my little. I think of this as a sort of one-dish meal. I would really love it. Perhaps with a little bit of rice.
Okay, rice would be nice.
Yep.
Working okay for you, chef, over there? All right.
Everything's great.
Okay.
So only like a 10-second blend.
Very,
Easy.
very, very easy blend.
Okay.
I feel like, Rick, you're back on Top Chef over here.
I know.
He doesn't mess around, man. You got 15 minutes to go. You got more than 2 minutes to go now, right? Okay, so you're taking the chicken and the eggplant out. You're going to reduce this. How much would you reduce this sauce?
I want it to be glazed.
Glazed.
So I'm just letting, you can see the little tiny bubbles now.
Okay, and Carrie's got her puree finished. And now a little tasting with the finger.
Mm-hmm. Have to.
Okay,
Oh,
enough garlic?
Delicious.
Great.
Enough garlic. Just a touch of salt. Cracked black pepper. It has just a good amount of spice going to it for the... And you can use this, like I said, you can also...
Minute and a half, by the way.
Bagna cotta you use for dipping.
Yep. But the Italians would do it a little differently.
Italians are like, eggplant? What is she doing?
What would the Italians do?
Everything that I'm doing minus the eggplant and the tahini. So
Yes.
it's garlic, olive oil, anchovy, butter.
1 minute to go. Rick's adding the toasted almonds
I
to
think
the top.
I feel like I have one too many ingredients. So we could leave the almonds off if we didn't want those to be on there. It's a fine dish without
no
it.
cilantro? Seriously?
You know, you could do cilantro. I'm just saying. There's a lot of ways you could go with this dish. Okay.
All right. I'm just giving it to you.
doing. You can tell I kind of like homey food because when I'm cooking at home, a lot of times I make one thing in a pan, and then I maybe make rice or a salad to go with it or something like that. But that's dinner.
And that's the time, actually. Carrie, how'd you do?
I got my...
There's your bagna cotta. Okay.
I just got to put my bread on it.
I say we start with Rick's. Want to just try this?
No, the other way around.
No?
Mine's,
Start with the
mine's
guest.
quite spicy.
Okay.
So I don't want.
All right.
I think we should go for the milder.
All right, everybody want to dip in here a little bit? Yeah.
My mouth's watering. This kind of a thing is like one of my favorite ways to eat.
Okay, I have to reveal something. Baba ganoush is one of my favorite things in the world, and that's my barometer dish when I go to a Middle Eastern restaurant. I always get the baba first. So you've already kind of won me at the eggplant part of this and the tahini.
It's so good.
But I like the chili. I don't, I'm not expecting that chili heat. I like a little bit of heat. It's sort of creeping up in the back of my throat right now. But again, the fact that these have been seasoned and toasted, really nice and crispy.
And it has the consistency and creaminess of fresh made peanut butter.
It does.
Peanut butter,
It's like an eggplant butter.
Yep.
Juicy oil, a little. It all depends how much heat you like. A little heat to start the meal.
Well, I had the opportunity to go to Istanbul fairly recently, and I was amazed at how much chili they put with eggplant dishes. And that's where I kind of came up with this idea for today, was to do something that is very. It's sort of I think it'll remind you of a cross between Mexico and maybe Southeast Asia. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
I'm too into the
Yeah, but you go
Carrie's dip. I love the dips that you offer.
You go to Istanbul and you can't help but come back in love
You got to
with.
eat some eggplant.
Oh,
It's all about eggplant.
That's really good.
Oh my God, that's so
As
good.
Carrie said, it's like the fastest thigh preparation I've ever seen. Well, because you cut them into small pieces, which is
Well,
important.
yeah,
Deboned it.
Everything small is going to cook faster.
This is
really
a
good.
little Moroccan-y.
Well, yeah, it is. It's, sort of,
yeah.
it's certainly not just classic Mexican. I'll tell you that.
I mean, you could add extra spices if you had,
Yeah.
right? You could if you
had more than 5 ingredients
right.
to work with.
But seriously, I think the almonds give it a nice crunch.
Yeah.
The chili, it's just enough. It's not overwhelming me.
You could roll this in a flour tortilla and be madly in love.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
or you could just wrap it around a pita. This would be great.
This was one of the most delicious challenges
Oh,
we've
this
had.
is really good.
Carrie Nahabedian from Naha and Brindille, thank you so much. Fantastic
Thank you,
recipe.
Carrie.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Again, all the information on our Facebook page, facebook.com/thefeedpodcast.